I have a message that I have received from the Lord that I want to share. The Lord has established watchmen and the messenger to warn his people in these last days. Whenever the Lord give us a message and permission to share, we always turn to share with God people. I want you to follow this message carefully and let the message wake you up, so that you may come closer to the Lord. It is a message that we have received in the middle of prayer. The purpose of this message is that we must wake up and pray in order to avert the plan of the evil one, the ruler of this world. We were in the middle of prayer when I saw a vision, in which I saw that the Spirit of the Lord was taking me inside a huge hall. To my surprise, I saw that this hall was surrounded by water, for it was in the middle of water, a hall inside the water. Who could build such a massive hall in the middle of water? When I looked inside the vast hall, I saw numerous people. These were not just any people, for they were highly elevated people. They were the upper class of the human society, the aristocratic. I saw president and high dignitary. They were powerful businessmen. Before them they had red sheet of paper and a pen before them on the table. At some point they all began to write on the red sheet of paper. When they had all signed on the red sheet, they began to hug one another. This hall seems hostile and was in the middle of water that was massive. The Bible say in Act 4 verse 26, the kings of the earth take their stand and the rulers gather together against the Lord and against his anointed one. In fact, this is the very city where Herod and Pontius Pilate conspired with the Gentiles and the people of Israel against your holy servant Jesus, whom you anointed. What has been will be again, what has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Back in the past, Herod and Pilate tried to reduce the church, and today Lucifer is working to reduce the strength of the church, the body of Christ. I asked the Lord, who are these people and what is in the red sheet where they are all signing? The Lord told me, warn my people, the kingdom of darkness. In this precise moment they have taken severe decision. The purpose of their resolution is to pile pressure on my children. This is because Lucifer has failed to get the number of souls he had planned to conquer during the sickness that has struck the world, for he was planning to bring an elevated number of men and women. Since he has failed to reach the number he projected, he has now come up with new decision. The Lord said Lucifer has failed to kill the number of souls that he had planned, and his plan has failed because of your prayer. The Lord then showed me the world during the global lockdown period when people were confined indoors. When I looked, I saw hands lifted to the sky. As a result, I saw white smoke rising from the earth to the sky. The Lord said the white smoke you see are the prayers of the saint that I had approved. During the global pandemic, my people were concentrated in Bible reading and prayer in my presence. Given that people wanted to be kept from the plague that was killing, they were concentrated in my presence. Many people repented and the deviant came back to me. My children all over the world were spending time in my presence. That is why their prayer were approved in my presence. As a result, I spared many from the pandemic, and I went on to frustrate Lucifer's plan. He did not succeed in his plan to conquer more souls. The devil piled pressure so that this pandemic can kill more, but I prevented it because of mercy. The Lord said, tell my children I want them to be concentrated the way they were spending time in my presence during global lockdown. Tell them to adopt the attitude that they had during the pandemic, because they were spending time in worship and prayer, because the world feared that plague. I heard the prayer of my people and terminated the pandemic. However, I see that my children are no longer concentrated. They have slackened and are now living in distraction. Tell them the enemy is planning again against humanity. They are planning more distraction. They are planning to lead the world astray away from me. In order to reach his goal of conquering more souls, they are preparing tough law, tough legislation that will be tough for my children to accept. The Lord has already blocked a lot of Lucifer proposition to world leaders thanks to our prayers through his grace and mercy. But the Lord told me, tell the church to wake up. They must wake up in concentration, in prayer, and the enemy is not tired. He is determined and relentless. He is preparing a new strategy to bring mourning in the world. The death you have seen during the last pandemic is not enough for him. He feels people should have died more. Brother, many people came back to God during the pandemic. Even retrograde believers came back to the way of justice. But the Lord is warning that his church has slipped back to distraction. The church has slackened. The Lord is telling us to adopt the attitude we had during the pandemic. Let us get back to prayer because the enemy, even in social media, causing scandal in complicity with false prophet. Let us watch, pray, because prayer is the weapon that will counter the plan of Lucifer against humanity. We must avoid distraction. Let us be focused.